Hello everyone, Justin with 511 Designs here at Wolverine Rental in Ann Arbor, about to install a glass guard on this KX0575. Just gonna go through the process of installing this. First I started by taking out each of these plastic plugs. Then I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bolt from the handle temporarily. I got this bolt out of the handle. Just gonna swing this out of the way temporarily. One thing I noticed is Kubota paints these cabs and ends up getting some paint in these threads, so I go through with one of the bolts and install it just to kind of cut some of that paint away before I get ready for the install. It takes an extra couple of minutes, but I think it makes the installation a whole lot easier. So what we're going to do next is install this main crossbar, which both the upper and the lower are attached to, using these two 10mm bolts. You're going to put this side up where the narrower spaces are on these two rib nuts. So let's get started on that. So what I've done here is install this crossbar just temporarily, put the bolts in just long enough or in far enough just to hold it up. And then what I'm going to do is remove each bolt and install this Loctite that we supply with the kit, just to keep these bolts from backing out at all. So this is Loctite 242. It's the blue removable type. So I've applied that, and I've just put these bolts in far enough where I can still move this slightly. These holes are slotted just because there is a little bit of variation sometimes between these bosses that we're securing it to. So right now we're just going to leave it loose and start installing the upper and lower guards. You only use a little dab on a few of these bolts, so you turn the cap around backwards and you have some for maybe another job. So now I'm going to go ahead and start installing the lower guard. I'm going to start by putting the bolts in these top two holes into the crossbar we just installed. Those, we're going to use these socket head cap button screws, flange button screws. So again, just put these bolts in here loose for now. I'm going to put in the lower hex head bolts, and then I'm going to take each of them out and apply a little bit of Loctite on them. So now I have the lower guard installed, just kind of mocked up. All the bolts are in. I have not tightened them yet. Now I'm going to move up to the upper guard. We're going to install these thread adapters into the uppermost bosses on the cab. I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite. These go with the fine thread in. It's M10 by 1.25. Now we've got these thread adapters installed. This will allow us to hang the upper guard on and make it easily removable just with some knobs. So let's grab the upper guard and get that going. Now I've installed the upper, just hanging from these. So now we have the upper hanging just on these couple of thread adapters. Now I'm going to go ahead and just put the knobs on.
Then I would run probably a straight line all the way up, and then so we'll do two hoses rather than.
So this is probably what the hell this is going to do there. And then I go from here.
Up a little bit longer here. Yeah.
So
We might need to run this and pull it back out.
Stretch that boom up flat so we're not trying to stretch out into it.
So I previously mentioned that we leave most all these bolts loose. So now that we have everything mocked up, I compared the spacing here to the other side. It all looks even, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten up this crossbar bolt on each side. And then next, I'm gonna make sure that this bolt for the handle here is gonna go through. It looks like it could be lifted up slightly. So I'm just going to lift it up like that a little bit and then tighten up these upper bolts. So now the upper bolts are tight. I'm just gonna snug down these two lower bolts here. And now the last step is just to rotate this handle back into place. Replace this bolt. So that's really all there is to it. Got it all installed. This took me less than a half hour. That includes stopping to restart the camera, stop the camera, whatnot. Really, this could be installed in about 15-20 minutes. And if you want to remove the upper guard, just remove these 4 knobs, lift it off by the handles, all set, ready to go.